Ever since I was a kid, I was always fascinated with things that were obscure. This is the reason I have a rap channel dedicated to discovering underground music. The name of this series is called Searching for Hidden Rap Gems, and that's exactly what some of the music is. But not only am I amazed by obscurity, I genuinely like the music that I find. This brings up another trait about me, as I never really cared for music that was popular. Now this isn't me saying that I don't like things that are popular, but at one point in my life, I didn't. The reason why was because I wasn't popular myself. All through my middle school and high school years, I was labeled a geek and a lame. Dudes used to try to fight me, and girls didn't give me a chance. This made me resent most people at school, and I didn't want to be associated with anything they were a part of, which also meant that I didn't want to listen to the music they enjoyed. Old school hip hop was always my go-to. Another thing that always fascinated me were things from the past. I'm someone that can appreciate things that are old, as they still hold great value. While everyone was fascinated by whatever was out during the early 2000s, I was too busy catching up on NWA, Wu-Tang Clan, and the Ghetto Boys. Although these acts aren't particularly unknown for the generation in which they came out, they were considered unknown for my generation. By the time I got to high school, I was already caught up on a lot of classic hip hop, which meant that I had no problem avoiding what the cool kids liked. But there would be a genre that I would discover in middle school that would make this ability even stronger. But before I would truly discover this genre, I would get a glimpse of it my 3rd grade year. The year was 2000 and it was Halloween night. I remember that I had to go somewhere with my mother, and I didn't have much time to finish watching my favorite thing on television, which were music videos on MTV. As I'm getting ready to leave, a music video would appear on screen, and I had no clue who the artists were, but the imagery within that video would stick with me up until I truly discovered who they were. All I remembered was that the artists were covered in face paint and they were rapping about murder. The track was infused with rap and metal, and the two guys that were rapping were extremely good. When the song got around to the chorus, I was officially sold, as it was extremely hype, and it was also something I've never seen in a music video before. Bodies were being put in a trunk, and they were rapping on a giant Ouija board. It was awesome. Halfway through the video, my mother started to call me, which gave me no time to find out who they were. Me being extremely ignorant at the time, I just thought that MTV would play the video again, but this never happened. I waited up until the year 2002 for that video to appear on the network again, but it never did. What made matters worse is that I wasn't knowledgeable on computers, which meant that I didn't know what Google was. The only time I used a computer was to play games. I had no idea that there were things called search engines. I also didn't have the balls to ask kids at my school did they see the awesome video that aired on MTV on Halloween night. I just felt like the kids would tease me, so I didn't even bother. In the year 2004, I was in the mall with my father and he bought me this really cool CD case. I didn't think nothing of it at the time, but it was blue and it had what looked like a graffiti artist with the acronym ICP written on the top right corner. On the side of the CD case read Insane Clown Posse. I had no idea what this meant and I didn't think nothing of it. That cool video I saw 4 years ago started to become a faded memory. That is until the year 2005 when I moved to Kansas City with my mom. It was my 8th grade year, and while I was on a school bus heading home, I pulled out my cool blue CD case and a white kid asked me if I was a juggalo. I was like, what the hell is a juggalo? He was surprised by the fact that I didn't know what he was talking about, and he politely asked me did I listen to the Insane Clown Posse. Right at that moment, I remembered the video of the rappers covered in face paint. I then told the boy no, I never heard of them. As the bus ride continued, I couldn't wait to get back home. By this time, I was a little more savvy on the internet as I discovered a website called Amazon. Here's where you can listen to 30-second snippets of tracks on albums. When I got back home, I couldn't believe that this whole time, this CD case has the name of the group that I saw on TV years back. I just knew that this was the same group from that video. When I typed Insane Clown Posse in the Amazon search bar, I was automatically intrigued by the artwork from their albums. Each album cover was all black with some sort of demon drawn on them. I clicked on the one that looked the coolest to me, and once I did, I fell in love with their music. All of the rap that I heard up until this point sounded nothing like these guys. They were extremely unique, and every song sounded different. Their subject matter also consisted of things that I've never heard on songs. On the 30-second snippet of the track Murder Go Round, the guy raps about getting hit in the head with a pole, and he also got jacked for his soda.
A 10-foot lead pipe slapped up my dome. Then he grabbed my finger when he said, "Crime paid."
What rapper would admit that they got beat up and robbed on a song? All I ever heard was how they beat up and robbed people. Chicken hunting. So they're rapping about hunting actual chickens? The song Mr. Johnson's Head was about how the rapper carried his teacher's dismembered head around in his book bag without anyone ever noticing.
I got Mr. Johnson's head in my book bag.
They also had tracks like Bugs on My Nuts, which is pretty self-explanatory. But mind you, I was also a fan of shows like Tales from the Crypt and The Twilight Zone during this time, so this new form of music was right up my alley. I was just amazed by how different this music was, and it was also nothing that sounded like it in the mainstream. I would eventually buy this album with some birthday money, and it's safe to say that this album was my introduction to the rap subgenre horrorcore. Now, I've heard dark songs before from NWA, Eminem, and the Ghetto Boys, but I had no idea what horrorcore rap was until I heard ICP. I would then discover that song that appeared on MTV back in the year 2000 was from a group called Twisted, and the name of the song was called We Don't Die. The awesome thing about this was that Twisted was also affiliated with ICP. The more I bought these albums and listened to them, the more I loved horrorcore rap. Just as I stated before, it was super easy for me to avoid popular music in high school, as ICP and Twisted is what I listened to the most during this time. Their music also got me through high school, as I was an outcast, which was very reflective of them. ICP and Twisted had countless songs where they would mention that they were outcast and that they were never taken seriously by anyone. I was going through this exact same thing. Their music was therapy, but not only that, their music was amazing to me, and ICP is still one of my all-time favorite rap groups. When it got around to my junior year of high school, I was well versed in horrorcore, as I now listen to countless artists within the genre. I discovered Brother Lynch Hung, Scum, Necro, Satanic, and Eshawn was beginning to become my favorite rapper of all time. Now, I must mention that the subject matter of this genre is not for the faint of heart. I've always been a fan of horror movies and TV shows, and that's exactly what the music was to me. It was like I was watching a horror movie when I listened to these albums. Many people that despise horrorcore like to bring up the fact that these rappers don't do what they rap about. I always thought that this was silly, because why would anyone want them to? It's all just entertainment, just like any other horror movie you might watch. You're not gonna say Stephen King or Wes Craven don't do what they write about. That's just dumb in my opinion. Also, the music never motivated me to do anything negative in the real world. Horrorcore rap was therapeutic to me at the time, and it was also therapeutic to millions of fans around the world. One of those fans was Richard McCrowski. Me and Richard had quite a bit of similarities. We were both outcast in school, and we both got picked on and bullied. Horrorcore rap was also escape from reality for both of us. But what makes us very different is that I never felt the urge to kill anyone in real life. No matter how many times I got rejected by pretty girls or got picked on, I never wanted to kill those people, as I knew there was more to life than high school. I would just put my headphones on and bump my horrorcore. For those of you that don't know, Richard McCrowski would end up beating 4 people to death with a splitting maul. Now, I know many people would blame horrorcore music for his actions, but I just can't find myself to do that, as I'm someone who is a diehard fan of the genre. If horrorcore rap was the reason Sam did what he did, then I should be a mass murderer right now. Sam was someone who was severely mentally ill, and whatever his upbringing was, had more of an impact on him than horrorcore. Sam was also a horrorcore rapper himself, and I'm not afraid to admit that I really enjoyed his music. In the beginning of my senior year, the horrorcore side of YouTube was on fire. The year was 2009, and Psycho Sam was a horrorcore rapper that actually killed people. I had to hear this guy's music. I remember the first song that I heard was called Voices, and I was instantly hooked. The beat was amazing, and Sam's vocals were unlike anything I've ever heard in the genre. Other songs like My Dark Side and Burning Churches were bangers too. Now, I'm not one of those people that like Sam's music because he actually killed people. I like his music because I genuinely think it's good. As a horrorcore rapper, I believe he would have flourished in the genre. The songs he released were songs that were recorded before he committed the murders, and the reason he killed 4 people was because of a relationship he had with a girl on MySpace. Emma Niederbrock was also a fan of horrorcore, and her and Sam dated for a year on MySpace. When they finally met in person, she was put off by Sam, which eventually led to him killing her and her family, along with her friend Melanie Wells, who was also a horrorcore fan. The reason I say this is because if it was a girlfriend that Sam wanted, he could have easily achieved this if he stuck with his craft. He was such a talented horrorcore artist, he would have been swimming in for JJ, but he chose to be a coward instead and killed 4 innocent people, and for that reason, I will never rock with him as a person. But but I still enjoy his songs. In conclusion, this was just something that's been on my mind for a minute, and I didn't really know how to put it in video form. I hope this would turn out to be a great video, as I sort of feel like I was all over the place. Hopefully I fully addressed the influence of this genre and how horrorcore impacted me. I also hope that I helped you understand this genre, as many people would classify anyone that associates themselves with it a weirdo, which is something I'll never understand. Well, this was my story about how horrorcore rap impacted me and others. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. There will also be a part 2 of this video, so stay tuned for that. And I'm gonna catch you guys in the next video. Gully Boy, signing out.